Welcome to episode 1 of Warriors Talks. We're the host podcast club, and today we are interviewing Mr.Hale. So I'm here with my other host, Atticus, and I'm myself, Calvin. So tell me about yourself.
Ooh, that's a large question. So I'm a teacher at YB. I teach AP Gov and AP Macro. I'm also part of the College Connection Academy. So I'm an advisor for the students in CCA. I'm also the advisor for the Social Justice Club on campus, as well as National Honor Society. So yeah.
That's a lot of clubs that you're advising.
I know.
Does it take a lot?
A lot of things on my plate, but I feel like I'm managing it well so far.
I feel like me as a teacher, I feel like, alright, if I was a teacher, it would be like a lot harder for me to like manage all that clubs as well as like teaching, because you also have to grade papers and also be there for the kids for their clubs. So that's a lot of like work, especially advising like two community service clubs. That's like, I have a lot of respect for that.
Thank you.
How do you manage that though?
How do I manage that? Well, I definitely like coffee, so coffee definitely gets me through the day. Multiple cups of coffee. Kind of found out about my love for coffee in college, kind of sustained that through my teaching career.
Yeah.
That definitely helps me.
Don't you have that like backlash from the coffee though? Because sometimes when I drink a lot of caffeine, I get a headache.
Yeah, headaches are like just shaking.
See, I get a headache if I don't drink coffee.
Ooh,
you're
like the opposite.
Yeah.
Alright, so like just tell me more like why you started becoming a teacher and stuff. Like
Ooh. Okay, so why I started to become a teacher is I feel like so freshman year of college, like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was between a couple different things, and then I was looking back at like my high school history teachers, and I always felt like, wow, I had great high school history teachers. I really loved history in high school. So I decided to major in history, and I wanted to make sure I kind of share the passion I have with history with others. And I don't think there's a better job of doing that besides teaching and getting other people excited about history.
Do have a big impact. So like I think like as like or like just looking at my other teachers, I feel like you would also have like a lot of like, it's outside of just teaching itself. You also have to connect with each student and stuff. So I feel like that's a lot of work as well. And like I feel like I would want to be dedicated to that. What about you?
Do you enjoy it?
Do I enjoy teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'd be here if I wasn't.
Is there a time where you might have regret choosing your career path?
Ooh. Oh, that's a hard question. I don't think so. I feel like, like teaching, you're very self-reflective. Like, how can you become a better teacher? What am I currently doing, and how can I, become better, right? I feel like teaching is like kind of like an art. Like, you're never gonna become, like 100% the best teacher, right? But I feel like there's, through like self-reflection and stuff, like you're able to kind of grow in your career. And yes, to answer your question, like there are challenging points, but I feel like, the students kind of make the job worthwhile, and like you being able to kind of grow in profession and seeing the impact that you have with that.
You ever had like a teacher moment? Like, oh, I finally became like a teacher.
Definitely my first year. It's kind of weird hearing like Mr. and then Hale together. That was definitely weird.
Yeah. Do you feel like now as like you're more experienced, do you think like having that respect of being a Mr. It's like Mr. instead of like your actual name is like you felt like you belong there?
Like, do I feel like I belong as a teacher, or like
just like you feel really respected towards like other students and stuff. Like they look up to you.
Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. I try to be there for the students, and yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about college.
Okay.
As like you came from UC Berkeley, which is like, right, like a big school. What was it like your first year and like just like being in like such a prestigious college?
So it's actually a transfer student. So Out of high school, I did 2 years of community college first. That's when I kind of figured out that I wanted to do history, wanted to become a teacher. And then definitely like the transition from community college to UC Berkeley was a big leap, right? You go to a school with, like a couple thousand students, to a school with like 30,000 students of undergrad and grad students at Cal. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely a jump from high school to community college to Berkeley, but yeah.
During your time in community college, did you was that like a career searching option for you, or were you sort of dedicated towards teaching already?
I think the first year I was a little uncertain what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to be like STEM or whether I wanted to go into like a career in STEM or go into law or go into teaching. But I think the first year it's like, I want to do something with history. By senior year it's more like, oh, I want to be a teacher with the history degree I got.
That's cool.
Do you feel like you were kind of stuck in one place in a community college? Because I feel like for me, if I go to community college, I feel like I will never leave San Jose. Like, have you ever had that like moment of like, damn, I'm like, I don't know why I want to be like with all my friends and going to like out of town and just living on my own.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging because like, most of my friends went away for college and I was still at community college, but I feel like it's like what you try to get involved with, whether it's clubs or like student organizations and like work, you get to surround yourself with different groups of people to kind of build that community in community college that might be a little bit more challenging to do than like at a UC or CSU.
You have any like funny stories in college?
Oh, trying to think. In community or at Berkeley, I was the manager of a student co-op, which is kind of like a student cooperative, like housing. A lot of funny stories, definitely managing that. A lot of students being kind of locked out of their apartments like at 3 or 4 a.m. Me having to wake up and do, open the door for them. Definitely a lot of like side conversations and fun events kind of through the Berkeley student co-ops. Yeah.
Do you feel like college made you like grow as a person? Like, is there like instance that like you feel like I had changed, like in maturity or like just anything in general?
Definitely. I think it's like, for me at least, I think it was something like not till like after college that I was like, oh, like this is how impactful college was. These are the connections I made in college, and these are all the soft skills I learned in college. I think like after college and when I got more into my career, I was like, oh, like college did help me in these different ways that you don't really see in the moment until like after you graduate, and you're like, okay, I developed all these soft skills. I got to talk to people, how to present, the different things I learned in college. Now let's connect with the career I have now.
Yeah, I feel like each level of like school or education will like make you change in like personality wise. Because I feel like what I am in middle school to now is like a whole different person. So I feel like each level of education will make you change and how you become mature, or like how you work as like with other people.
Definitely, I feel like it tries to push you out of your comfort zone. You probably know that like with EBC too, like it's different from managing, like your YB classes to some extent, and then like, once you in high school and go into college, it's a different level of like time management and goal setting and stuff like that.
Yeah. With like teaching and stuff, what do you guys like, what do teachers do outside of like teaching and stuff, like in their free time?
So for me at least, I like to go on hikes, like to take my dog out on hikes. I like to cook. I cook a lot. I definitely coffee is my hobby. I have an espresso machine. I get really into that.
Like making like lattes?
Yes, definitely. Like,
do you do like coffee art and stuff?
I do.
Oh, that's like cool. You guys showed us.
I know. I didn't come prepared. I would have brought pictures.
Yeah.
So no Starbucks then?
No Starbucks.
like what's your favorite like chain coffee?
Oh, well, there's definitely like some local San Jose ones that I definitely like Chromatic and Voyager. I go to a lot if I'm not making coffee at home.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend those.
No, I never tried coffee before.
Oh my gosh, well, maybe coffee.
Nah, I'm more like a milk tea guy.
Okay.
I like boba and like
Same
all that
thing.
stuff. Like
Same thing.
yeah, like I have there's this theory around my family was like, oh, coffee will make you short. So I'm like, I got like hella scared, but like till this day I'm pretty short as well without coffee. So I don't know. I think my parents were lying to me. Yeah, Benny. I drink milk, but not that much because I'm lactose.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Atticus, do you drink coffee?
If I drink too much coffee, I actually get a headache. So I can't drink it like over time. I have to chug it in like 15 minutes. And I don't know if that's not the most healthy thing, so I don't drink a lot of coffee. So yeah, normally just water. Water's healthy.
Do you add a lot of creamer into your thing?
No, black.
Just black?
Just black.
I heard that tastes like really bitter.
Not
It's
a
an
bit
acquired
good.
taste, right?
Yes.
It's an acquired
Yes,
taste, right?
it's acquired.
Yeah. Because when I drink coffee, I don't like it sweet either. I like it more on the bitter side.
You know, like how milk tea is like sweet, but like if you were to get rid of the sweetener and you still have like the milk,
Yeah,
it's
it's just
okay,
like
and then you kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
Alright. You have any other questions?
What was it like? Let's just speak for some of us here. Like, we're all in high school, right? Here's so count first. What do you think of just your experience here?
My experience here? Overall, I feel like it's been pretty good, but I feel like half of it has been robbed due to like COVID and stuff. Like I knew my first year of just high school in general, it's just like it was kind of like overwhelming because there's a lot of like people that are different compared to you guys, and they're not really the same. So like being in a high school, I have been in this high school for like 6 years, including middle school. So it's just like crazy for me that like the fact that almost half of my life has been in this high school alone. So like it's just like feels like another home to me. There's a few up and downs. Like high school is always a roller coaster to me, like just in movies and just like in real life. So I feel like my experience at YB is just like a normal like high school roller coaster.
How is that transition from like distance learning back into like, you know, in-person learning?
That's for my experience. I feel like entering my junior year, it felt like I wasn't really upperclassman, as like you know how like you transition to being like an underclassman that like learns from elders. Now you're the elder that the younger people look up to. So I feel like for me, it felt like I didn't belong as someone that can be inspiring like younger kids. So when we came back to in person, I felt like wow, I'm like just like the underclassmen. I'm just like a freshman to everyone. Like I don't know how to be like a mature person. What about you?
Have you learned how to do that now?
Now that I'm a senior, I have learned a lot. I still feel like I'm an underclassman, the way I act and stuff. But like the way I work and how to manage with group people, I feel like I have matured with others. And I feel like I've been like a good influence to like other people and even my underclassmen. I feel like I like can guide them to like places and stuff. What about you? What's your experience like?
I'm not as involved, let's say, as someone as likes of you and Calvin. So my experience is different. I'm more focused on the sort of doing the things that I've already been doing and like working on those skills, rather than like trying to go out and start something new and influence other people, right? So a lot of my time has been spent just working toward things that I'm already good at and just improving upon those skills, rather than looking to expand elsewhere.
So you use high school like kind of like your way to like grow as a person yourself rather than helping others.
You can think of it like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's not just a linear line, right? It's not me, oh, I'm only helping myself. It's just me, I'm focused. That's the part that's more emphasized rather than the other one.
What
So yeah,
about-
interesting contrast between me and Calvin's high school experiences.
Yeah. What about you? How's your experience just teaching at YB in general?
Well, I feel like the pandemic was hard. So like, you know, like going into distance learning, like it was definitely like a shift in like how you teach. You know, like how to teach online is a little bit different than how to, or a lot bit different than teaching in person. And then, you know, like switching back to in-person learning after you've been teaching online for a year, like that's a big shift as well. So a lot to manage with all those different things, but you know, like as students, you have to like make that shift too, like how to, you know, do school in person and then do school online, and then like some of your EBC classes are still online and how to manage that as well. It's a lot.
Did you like teaching virtually or no?
I think there is some, you know, parts of it I liked, right? And then parts of it, like, I like the traditional classroom environment, right? I felt like there's new things you could try teaching online that I never did in person, like with technology. But definitely miss, like, you know, seeing the students and interacting with people in a class,
Yeah,
right?
engagement.
Because definitely in Zoom, it's like, if you don't, a lot of people don't feel comfortable speaking on Zoom. And then like for teachers, you kind of felt like, almost like you're the star of your podcast, like every day, right? Like you had to be on, you know, the total time you're on Zoom or everybody's kind of watching you. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons into like online and in person. Like the biggest pro for me, like no offense on teachers, but like I felt like it was easier for me to just fall asleep in class and like they wouldn't know, like if you were paying attention, because like you would do the work and then you just pass out. But like there's some cons. Like it was hard for me to learn online because I'm a very like hands-on person, so I wanted to learn how to do it like by myself with a teacher that's supporting me. But online we didn't have the resources to do that, so I felt like that was like the biggest con of my experience online. But there's a lot of pros into online schools.
Yeah, like as a teacher, did you, because from experience on Zoom, being that star it can be nerve-wracking, right? Like when everyone else has like, essentially doesn't respond to you. Right? Like how did you deal with that?
Definitely, you know, like the students are all like in Discord chats and everything, and they're all talking to each other. And it's kind of like disheartening sometimes. And you like pose a question, and then it's like, you know, a few students answering and stuff, and some of the chat. But you know, like in person, there'd be more people raising their hands and stuff. So yeah.
When you're walking around or something, or just in general and outside, do you ever encounter like a student of yours, and like how do you feel about that? Because do you like avoid them, or you try to like run away?
Oh, like outside of school?
Yeah, outside.
It's always different. I think it depends on the student. Like I always will talk to them and make conversation with them. But what usually happens is like you go to class the next day and the student will be like, I saw you, you know, at the mall or something. I'm like, okay, cool. But they didn't say hi until later, and then so that's usually how the conversation goes.
Well, one of our experience was the Pride Parade. We went to that event. How do you feel just meeting like just the students there and just saying, "Oh my God, it's Mr.Hale" and all that?
It's always good to see like students volunteering and stuff. So it's always fun to see like the service clubs out on events and like the night. I went to that one year. I was not aware that like all of my students would be there, and it was very good to see students out volunteering.
Yeah. Do you feel like you would be happy with the future with our kids, or just like the kids that you teach? Like once they graduate, the future will be on our hands, and we're just like cool.
Or like my teacher heart is like, you know, like government is like so important because like one day you'll all be voters and contributors to like our society. So I see the purpose in teaching as kind of like that. Like hopefully like one day like when you're filling out a ballot, you kind of think back to like AP Gov and what you learned in that class.
of all the like students that like you taught, what's the one student that stand out to you?
Oh. There's always students from every year that kind of stand out, but during the pandemic it was kind of hard to like connect with students, so that was definitely a blur. But like every year I like connecting with all students. And
Like do you feel like you learn a lot from the students as well?
Yeah, you definitely learn how to become a better teacher, and I think government's like one of those things where like students have their opinions on things, and definitely for economics too, where like I appreciate hearing your guys' kind of perspectives of current.
Alright, that concludes first segment.
Thank you guys.
Stop.